Hi, lovelies. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between emotional eating and mindful eating. So, this is kind of the difference between actual physical hunger, when your body needs food and is craving food, and kind of an emotional hunger, which a lot of people try and kind of fill or avoid that people feel with food or eating. I wanted to talk about kind of 5 steps for you to take towards becoming a mindful eater, but I think before we do that, we need to identify what is emotional eating versus mindful eating, and how would you know if you were an emotional eater? So let's look at some of kind of the main key points that might indicate that you have at one point, and most of us have, even I have times when I binge eat or emotionally eat. But what would be a sign for you that maybe you're emotionally eating more often than is optimal for you? Some of the signs might be if you eat more when you feel kind of stressed or overwhelmed or anxious. That is often an emotional eating habit. You eat to feel better, to help calm yourself down. If you're bored, sad, mad, any of those emotions, if you're finding that food is kind of filling that void for you, that might mean that you're emotionally eating. If you eat when you're not actually physically feeling hungry, but you're trying to kind of fill, again, that emotional void, or you're trying to comfort yourself with the taste and the feeling of eating. Another sign that you might be emotionally eating is if you either reward yourself with food or you eat to the point where you're kind of really stuffed, overly full. And if you're using food to make you kind of feel secure in your life, that also is another sign of kind of emotionally eating. And emotional eating is a tough one because you can feel really powerless to food. You desire and crave food, but your body actually isn't hungry and it doesn't need that nutrients of food. So it can feel very out of control if you are a regular emotional eater. The difference between emotional hunger and kind of being actually properly hungry is that you crave usually comforting foods, so foods that aren't always very nutritious, foods that are sugary or have a lot of like cheese, carbs, those kind of things. And emotional hunger can come on like really instantly if you're having something like a panic attack, if you're in an awkward situation, if you have an exam coming up and you're just kind of eating to help yourself calm down. It's also very mindless, so you'll find that you're eating and you're not really taking time to appreciate or taste food. And then afterwards you can feel quite kind of shameful that you maybe have eaten that much, or that you really don't remember eating that much when you look at like an empty wrapper or an empty tub of ice cream or whatever it might be that you go to when you're trying to kind of emotionally eat and use food as a comfort for yourself. So I want to talk about 5 kind of steps to learning to become more mindful. And mindful eating is really being aware of what you're putting in your body. So I think for mindful eating to even begin, it's really important for you to identify triggers for emotional eating. So what are the times that you emotionally eat? Are there certain situations in which you eat? Like for me, I find if I'm watching a lot of TV, I quite often will emotionally eat, especially if it's a sad TV show or something that makes me a bit anxious. So being aware of those times and really being mindful of when you emotionally eat is the first step to taking control over your eating habits. And maybe in those times you can prepare kind of healthier snacks, because if you know you're going to want to eat, then at least go to those healthier snacks rather than those comfort foods. Step number 2 is to really take a moment. When you have a craving, take a moment and just think about, why do I want this food? What is it going to benefit me if I eat this food? Is there a different kind of food that might be healthier for me to eat that I'm not craving, but that might, if I'm actually hungry, help fill this void? Do I feel actually hungry in my body? And am I having those like kind of hunger pains? Because a lot of the time, emotional eaters don't even let themselves get hungry. They don't even usually remember the feeling of hunger sometimes because they're always eating to fill those voids. Whether it be that you take a 5-minute breathing break or you engage in kind of a meditation or some kind of writing down what you're feeling to all of these things. It might even be that you just have a conversation with yourself in the mirror and kind of talk yourself through those cravings. So really just hitting that pause button, stopping for a moment, and considering why you want to emotionally eat right now or mindlessly eat food. The third one is to really think about when you're grocery shopping and when you're bringing food into the house, what kinds of food you want to have in your home. You're setting yourself up to emotionally eat if you are bringing in like tons of sugary foods, tons of carbs, tons of foods that are comforting but really not healthy for your body. So really consider what foods you want to eat this week. For me, I prep a lot of my meals for the week, so I have portions. I know what kind of foods I'm going to have that nourish my body. I will choose kind of less carby foods over foods that are really carby or sugary. And I'm not saying that I never eat foods with sugar or carbs, because I totally do, but at least trying to moderate that through the groceries I have in my house really help me with any of those emotional kind of eating triggers. The fourth one is kind of learning to really acknowledge and appreciate food. One way you can do this is by actually having an appetite when you eat, so that you're kind of appreciating and you're really understanding the feeling of what physical hunger is. So starting with kind of smaller portions and able to smell the food, to prepare the food, chew the food, bringing sensation to the meal, and appreciating, being mindful of what that tastes like. What does it feel like to eat when I'm hungry? What do I appreciate while I'm eating? Rather than this mindless eating where we just kind of stuff our face or we just chew and swallow after one bite even. Noticing that difference, really appreciating the food that you're eating and having portions, bringing your senses to that meal, that all kind of goes together. And my last tip for mindfully eating is to eat slowly. It takes your body 20 minutes to process that it's full. And when we've emotionally eaten for a long time, or if we emotionally eat regularly, we're not necessarily going to be mindful of that. So being mindful that if you are done eating, not to continue eating till you feel stuffed, but to let your body notice if it's full or not, or if it needs more food. And to eat and chew slowly, so that, again, you're mindfully putting every bite in your mouth. You're noticing the bites that are going in there, and you're aware while you're eating of what you're doing and what's happening. So it kind of minimizes those feelings of guilt or shame that can occur when we just binge eat or stuff our face, right? This is just a short video to kind of give you those 5 tips on how to become a mindful eater. Hopefully, even if you don't want to take those 5 steps, the video has helped you to acknowledge if you are kind of an emotional eater, or if sometimes you are using food as a way to reward yourself or to comfort yourself and make you feel safe. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great week. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, to our channel and check out our other videos. I post weekly on different mental health topics, and I hope that you enjoy it. Thank you.